Hey everybody, Ryan here at eTrailer. Today on our 2015 GMC Sierra 1500, we're going to be taking a look at the Roadmaster Nighthawk Tow Bar. So there's going to be a total of 5 main components needed to flat tow your Sierra down the road. The first one's going to include your base plate, and that's going to provide us with a solid and reliable connection point. That way we can hook up our tow bar. The tow bar is going to be that second component, and this is going to be the physical link that connects the front of your Sierra to the back of your motorhome. The third main component is going to be safety cables, and these are there in the event of an unlikely disconnect. These are going to keep your truck connected to your motorhome. The fourth main component is going to be tow bar wiring, and this is going to transfer the lighting signals from the back of your motorhome to the back of your GMC, keeping you safe and legal. And last but not least is the braking system. So the braking system is going to apply the brakes in your truck whenever you hit the brakes in your motorhome, helping bring you to a more safe and predictable stop. So when it comes to tow bars, things can get a little confusing pretty quick. There's so many options available, and each tow bar does a few different things. And so when I'm looking for one, I primarily focus on 3 big things. First thing being, how is it going to pull your vehicle down the road? You know, is it going to track well? Is it going to be nice and smooth? And so on. The next biggest thing I look for is the ease of use, how you're going to live with it. You know, is it easy to hook up? Is it challenging to hook up? Is it easy to store? And so on. And the last main thing I look for is kind of just the basics, you know, what it's going to come with, what it's going to be rated for, and things like that. Now, I will say when it comes to the Nighthawk, this one, in my opinion, is definitely one of my favorites. It is very smooth, looks awesome, and is very user-friendly. But with all that being said, let's go ahead and kind of run through those one by one and see if this is the right fit for you or not. So first thing we can kind of cover is how it's going to pull your Sierra down the road. I've heard from a lot of customers that this thing does an amazing job, and that's partly because it is really long. Generally speaking, the more distance you have between the front of your vehicle and the back of your motorhome, the better. It just makes it easier to maneuver around those sharp turns, whether you're pulling into a gas station or something like that. They said everything operates very smooth. You can't hardly even feel your vehicle whenever you're pulling it behind your motorhome. And because of that length and how wide the arms go here, even on a base plate that's spread apart very far like it is here on our Sierra, you see the attachment points are really wide. It's going to give us that length we need to keep a good distance between our 2 vehicles. That way it's a pleasure to pull whenever we're heading on vacation. Now let's go ahead and kind of talk about the ease of use. When it comes to tow bars, this one is about as simple and straightforward as it gets. One of the things that really separates it is it's extremely lightweight. It's definitely one of the lighter tow bars available. And so whenever you're bending down and trying to hold the arms up to connect everything, it's not going to be nearly as challenging. Now, even though it is lightweight, it is going to have an 8,000 pound weight capacity. So definitely is going to be able to handle all the pressure and workload whenever you're pulling a heavy truck like the Sierra behind your motorhome. With that said, another really nice feature is the fact that this is a non-binding type tow bar. I don't know if any of you have experienced a binding type tow bar, but if you haven't, you really don't want to. A lot of times what can happen is once you arrive to your destination, the ground won't be perfectly level, and when you go to disconnect, the arms can get in a bind and make it very challenging to get everything separated. And that's not the case with this one. If that happens, all you're going to have to do is lift up on the lever. That's going to release that tension and allow you to easily disconnect it without having to get special tools out or anything like that. So whenever you are ready to disconnect, really straightforward. You're going to remove your safety cable, and to get the tow bar separated itself, just going to have a pin here, pull that out, and pop that one out. And that's really all there is to it. You know, you have to disconnect your wiring and your other flat tow components, but that's a breeze as well. And whenever you're ready to hook up, just do that opposite thing. Line everything back up, put the pin in, pop your keeper in, and get everything else hooked back up as well. Another great thing about this setup too is the fact that once you disconnect everything, you can actually store it on the back of your motorhome. So you just grab your arms and lift up on them, and it's going to lock in, and then you can rotate it to one side or the other. What I like to do is just kind of take all the cables and everything else, kind of wrap it around there. And this is perfectly fine to leave back here temporarily or even permanently. If you do plan on leaving it attached to your motorhome all the time, I would suggest picking up some locking hitch pins. That way it'll be secure and no one can run off with it. And I would also suggest using a cover, which will go over the tow bar and just help keep the weather off of it. So now that we kind of covered how easy the tow bar is to use and how we're going to live with it, let's kind of touch base on some of the basics and just a few of those small things that kind of separates this one from some of the other tow bars. One of the main things being, we're going to have this cool LED light strip on the side here. That's not something you always see, and it's just a quick way to let other motorists know that there's something in between your tow vehicle and your motorhome. So just a small safety feature. Something else that's pretty nice is the fact that the tow bar has these channels here. So as you can see, the wiring and safety cables are going to pass through them, keeping them up off the ground out of harm's way. And it looks really organized too. It keeps everything together and easy to hook up. With that said, it's actually going to come included with your safety cables as well as your wiring here. So that's really convenient. A couple less things you're going to have to worry about, not worry about picking up separately. And you know that they're paired correctly. You know that these have the appropriate length and weight capacity and so on. So kind of get a whole package here. Makes everything really straightforward. I will say one thing I do like is the actual finish or the coating on the tow bar itself. It's a powder coat finish, but it's not really similar to a lot of the other ones. This coating is very thick. It almost feels like a plastic almost. That's how thick this powder coating is laid on. So it should do a great job of you know, looking good and staying in great shape. And that'll finish up our look at of the Roadmaster Nighthawk Tow Bar on our 2015 GMC Sierra 1500.